What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all having an amazing day. If you see something wiggling around down here, it's the kitty cat. She's cold, and so she has crawled up under her little blanket. And yeah, she's crawling around. So, anyways, this is a completely random video. I was a little bored and I had some things on my mind, so I thought, there she is. So I thought I would record and share my thoughts with all of you. So the first thing is, I thought I would share my thoughts on the final experiment. Okay, now for anybody who has been in the flat earth globe earth discussion for any amount of time, you already know what the final experiment is. But for anybody that doesn't know, let me just give you a quick rundown. There is a gentleman named Will Duffy. He is a pastor from Colorado. He is a heliocentrist, and at some point he came into the flat earth, globe earth discussion, right? Now, from what I understand, he takes frequent trips to Antarctica. I don't know if that's for his job or what it's for. I heard that through someone else, so if I'm wrong about that, you can correct me, but that's what I heard. Now, apparently, he has a trip coming up, and so he had the bright idea to take a flat earther and a globe earther to Antarctica to see if there is a 24-hour sun down there or not. Now, what he thinks this is going to prove is he thinks that if there is a 24-hour sun, it means we live on a globe. If there isn't one, it means we live on a flat earth. So now that you have an idea of what we're talking about here, let me give you my thoughts on the matter. I have to admit that I am quite perturbed by the whole thing. First of all, you know, we don't live on models, okay? So when you hear talk of a globe earth model this or a flat earth model that, we don't live on a model. The map is not the train. We don't live on a map either, okay? So Will Duffy has this idea that there's a flat earth model. Okay, and I would say where this comes from is there's a lot of people, including myself, who, we all have our own thoughts and ideas on what this realm is, what this place is, what it looks like, how it's sorted out, how it works. But, some people will share their thoughts and ideas, which is great. I totally am down for that. But the problem is that some people start to take that on as fact, okay? And so you end up hearing things like there's an ice wall and a dome and a disc and all of this stuff, okay? And then you couple that with something like Dave Weiss's app, right? That Flat Earth app that, he made or had made. That shows you the seasons and the celestial bodies and how they move around and stuff like that. And so then people like Will Duffy get this idea that this is our flat earth model, right? And that's just not correct. There is no flat earth model. I didn't agree to any flat earth model. I don't know how we could have a flat earth model when none of this has been fully explored to make the determination about anything in our reality, right? So the idea is that, people say, well, the sun and the moon move around above us in a circle like this, and then they move out a little further and a little further until eventually the sun makes its widest circumference, if you will, around the outer edge of this disc-looking flat earth, which would be where the ice wall is out around that outer edge, and they call it Antarctica. And so if there's no 24-hour sun, then it means we live on a flat earth, and it's just nonsense, okay? The celestial bodies do not dictate what we're standing on. I thought that we all understood this. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who think that this is going to prove something. In fact, we now have people saying that they are going to jump ship. They're going to shut their channels down and change sides depending on what they see down there, right? And what I have to say to that is, yeah, okay, please do that and then leave the discussion entirely, because we don't need people here who can't separate objective reality from fiction. We don't need people trying to turn speculation into fact without proving it in some way. So I'm really annoyed by that. I think that if nothing else, people are going to end up more confused, more lost. Um, and not only that, but like the money that's being spent on this, like there are so many practical demonstrations that you could do to prove other things, but instead you're pouring it into this. Not only that, I mean, how many people could you help with the kind of money it's going to cost him to send all these people to Antarctica? Because last I heard, there were like two flat earthers possibly going, and then like six or seven people from the globe side going. So yeah, I mean, how many people in need can you help? I just think there's so many other things that could be done, and if you're wanting to prove something, then do some proper practical demonstrations, set some things up with the money that are actually going to prove something, because this isn't going to prove anything. So, yeah, I'm a little irritated by all of that, but who am I to tell somebody how to spend their money, right? The money is almost always in the wrong hands. That's usually how it goes. Unfortunately, this is a situation we find ourselves in, and from what I can tell, this trip's going to move forward regardless of what I think about it. But I just thought I'd share my thoughts with you on it. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's going to prove anything? Do you think it's a waste of time? Do you think it's a good idea? Like, what are your thoughts on the matter? The other thing I wanted to talk about is I had a question left on one of my other videos. Actually, it was my last video, why the Earth cannot be stationary. And to some people, it might seem like a stupid question, but to me, it's not a stupid question at all. Not when you consider that, a lot of people in this topic, they're just average everyday people, right? That, found their passion in the topic, and they're here and they're asking questions. So sometimes the obvious needs to be pointed out to people. So let me read this question to you. I'll put it up on the screen so that you can all read it as I read it. It says, so, because falling objects are not falling or going down, the Earth cannot be stationary? Okay, so let's go through this quickly. All right, my hand is the Earth, all right? This is the inanimate object, all right? We see an observation of an object appearing to move down to the ground, okay? Now, one thing we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, one thing we can know, we see it, there's no denying it. The inanimate object and the Earth come together to meet one another. Okay, we know that. We see it, it's there, no denying it. That means that either the object or the Earth or both have to be in motion to come together and meet. They're going to move together and meet. All right? So then we ask the question, well, how do we determine if it's the Earth in motion? We can't get outside of the reference frame far enough to see it as a whole. So how do we make that determination? Well, we look to the object. The object, being inanimate, tells us that there's nothing within this object, and there's nothing inside of it that gives it the ability to move at will. So a force is required to act upon it to make it move down, to make it accelerate down. You need a force. So then we go on through many practical demonstrations, like a lot of different demonstrations have been done. Then we come to the conclusion that there is no force through all these tests, right? So if we know there is no force, this inanimate object cannot be moving, not downward. So the only option that we're left with there, because we know that they meet one another, something has to be in motion. If it's not the inanimate object going down, the only thing you're left with is the earth being in motion. That is why it cannot be stationary. Now, as I said in that video, you can either accept the facts as they are, or you can come up with some other crazy explanation for how that object's physically moving down, like Einstein did. That's how the entire heliocentric spherical ball system has been held together this entire time, is by some nutso explanation by Einstein that he made up in his own mind and admits to. He admits to it. It's not a secret. So you can do that if you want, right? And here's another thing. What I was trying to say about electrostatics and magnetism, respectfully, I'm not being condescending, arrogant, cocky, rude, none of those things when I say this. The point that I'm trying to make about electrostatics and magnetism is that if this object here is physically moving to the ground, regardless of what's causing it, whether it's RDD, electrostatics, magnetism, some type of force, it doesn't matter. A digital or analog accelerometer would detect this object physically moving to the ground. But it doesn't. It doesn't, because the object isn't moving down at all. So none of those things can cause something that isn't happening. It's just that simple. You just have to be honest enough with yourself to admit that. I don't really see why it's so hard. I don't understand what it is that people are holding on to so desperately that they just can't admit that what they're looking at isn't really happening. You know, I mean, that's something you got to work out within yourself. I mean, it was easy for me, but I didn't have any biases. I wasn't holding on to a stationary earth or a ball or any of these other things. So it was very simple for me to admit objective reality was true. You know, I had to go with what the physical demonstration showed. I couldn't just ignore them. So there's my thoughts on that. But I hope that explaining how one of these two things has to be in motion. They're not coming together to meet by magic. It's not happening instantly. It's not like it instantly the object is on the ground. Then we could say, okay, something else is going on here, right? 100%. But that's not the case. The two come together to meet. One or both of them has to be in motion. Sorry, just is what it is. I just wanted to add right here quickly that the only time that the acceleration is detected is when attached to the Earth. So that tells you right there, the Earth must be in motion. Now, the final thing I wanted to share with you was I started my channel 4 years ago, and over the last 4 years, I have tried desperately to come up with some kind of name for my channel, and I cannot come up with anything that doesn't sound cringy as hell or just ridiculous. Somebody left a comment on one of my videos. It wasn't a very nice comment, but it's fine. And it was mentioned that I have a tendency to babble a little bit, and I do. I waffle. Okay, what you see is what you get. If you don't like it, piss off. There's 1,000 other channels you could watch. But this person wasn't wrong. Okay, I do have a tendency to babble. And I'm fine with it. Okay, as long as you're fine with it, I'm fine with it. So I got to thinking about that, and I thought about, okay, well, some of the things I talk about are like the nature of our reality, our physical reality. What's going on in our world, like current events, things like that, conspiratorial stuff, what the powers that be are planning for us, and spiritual reality as well. And so I thought, bring the two together to meet, right? And I thought, reality babble. What do you guys think? Is it cringy as shit? Like it? You don't like it? What do you think? You can be honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I can't decide if it's cringy as hell or if I like it. Like, I can't. I don't know. What do you think? Give me your opinion. If you have any other ideas or thoughts, please share them with me on a channel name, because I need something else desperately. I'm fine with it having Amanda in it. I just think it needs something else, like Amanda's perspective or something. And I wouldn't mind that. I would love that. But the only reason I haven't already went with that is because other people have that in their channel name, like da 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 perspective. And I don't want anybody to think I'm copying them or stealing their idea or anything. So, but yeah, I mean, tell me what y'all think. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about the final experiment. Just give me your thoughts in general, okay? I guess that's pretty much it. I'll quit bugging you now. I hope that y'all have an amazing day, and I will catch you all very soon. See you later.